Well, we started with recordings of the sun and moon. The first idea was to gather all the readings, and the idea was that because we can gather what we want, but we have no idea of how to put it on a map, or any map for that matter, figured I could make a program to actually show it all in a map and get the recordings visible in how they show actually what is where and when. And while I was building it, was a problem that when we zoom in too much into the map of Google Maps, like here at 0.0 latitude longitude, images started to disappear, and that made me question in how far images are actually available, and that created the idea for scanning actually the whole image database they have. But there's actually left, and I came across the dilemma that I couldn't translate the latitude longitude in the XY coordinates in where these images are requested in, like here, XYZ. You get a pure square of a part of the image. The main square is just 0, 0, 0. That's the whole world. What they do in their storage is for every next zoom level 1, for example, is a quarter of the image. And zoom level 2 is an eighth of the image. And zoom level 3 a 16th of that image, and so on, so on, so on. And so I discovered they actually divided every zoom level in a next power of 2, in where you get a double amount of images in the horizontal and in the vertical direction. And while I was searching for the translation between the XY coordinates and the latitude longitude, I came across the formula what they actually used. And this one, yeah. This is the whole square, just from level 9. And in level 9 you will see that the red part of it is what they don't have on their servers. There are no images for that particular level on that particular position, and every pixel in this image is a presentation of a complete image in their database. In level 9 you have already 512 by 512 images. Their formula to get latitude longitude into the XY coordinates creates this particular wave, the pink wave you see here. And when I finally got that particular formula, would translate all this between the two, between the latitude longitude and the XY Z coordinates, I figured there was something beyond the latitude 85, because that's up till where they have their images in latitude longitude coordinates, and that ends up in exactly the square. And what I discovered was that there was another 5-degree latitude, but created through their formula actually a complete square on top and a complete square on the bottom of it. And I have nothing else but the elevation data to actually fill it up with. And yeah, that created the whole image on top of it and on the bottom of it. And I especially added many colors to see the differences on as much differences on the elevation data, to see as much detail as possible. And yeah, that created this whole display of colors. image itself is looped in east-west side. You can see, yeah, well, I need to adjust it to another table actually, so you can see it all in elevation data. Oh. Let it load. Alright. The east-west side is a looping part, and what we figured through the material of free energy is that we live in a fourth dimensional world. But the map he was using in his video was the latitudinal adjusted map, in where all the three squares get squeezed into an image. I can show that as well. I made one myself. Yeah. This is the latitudinal adjusted form of it, and we all know this one. And this is what they gave to the world as being the ball projection of our ball. And east-west is looping because it is a ball. But figuring out how the fourth dimension actually worked, and there's just no curvature on the Earth to be found. There's just no ball to be found, to be confirmed in that sense. But we have a confirmation of the east-west being looping. So far, I figured they're actually hidden north first by creating the world into a circle. And then later on they shut down south the same by creating it a ball. And they have put in a very clever function to display only middle part of the three squares inside this image, and the north part and the south part end up in just, well, in this case 20 pixels of the whole image at the top and at the bottom, and half of the square even ends up in a single pixel. So most of the data in north and south is just lost in this image, and you don't know it's there. They're never telling you. But by discovering how this function worked, I discovered how I could actually get elevation data beyond latitude 85, and that created the whole image on top of it and on the bottom of it as well. And yeah, well, we see there's a lot of information in there to be studied, actually, to what the result is of this whole. But yeah, I began to put all kinds of things on top of it, like the flower of life pattern inside the square. I've drawn all kinds of. This is the flower of life base square in a sense, and yeah, from there everything got rolling, and eventually I put in the sun and moon and the lemurs, all land, deepest part of the world, and then we have our own land, and then we have a less deeper sea in the north, but it is all sea. And well, probably there is a beyond of this in the north and a beyond of this on the south, but somehow I'm thinking there are barriers to overcome as well. With the whole flower of life, I discovered even that these particular circles, the blue ones on the top, well, in Antarctica it's all land, deepest part of the world, and then we have our own land, and then we have a less deeper sea in the north, but it is all sea. And Well, probably there is a beyond of this in the north and a beyond of this on the south, but somehow I'm thinking there are barriers to overcome as well. Um, with the whole flower of life, I discovered even that these particular circles, the blue ones on the top and the yellow ones on the bottom, are like the four pillars of Earth, and that's based on how the flower of life is in east-west direction orientated. Um, I figured even that from this pillar you have four phases of the actual angels who have the four angels, who have the four phases, and it seems to me that that is even electromagnetically related. You have four pillars with four faces on both sides of the world, and yeah. Well, what I said, the four pillars of Earth, maybe. This was in the beginning when I was just drawing everything from the latitude to longitude zero point 0.0 before I actually adjusted the position of the flower of life itself, because somehow the square has to move to line up with everything. But basically, I figured these are the four pillars of Earth through the flower of life pattern, forced through the flower of life pattern. After I lined it up, actually the South Pole highest point, which is this mountain here, lined it up with the particular flower here, and then you have the valley in Antarctica, and then you have a deep, uh, very deep rim here in the water, and then a high mountain range in the water the same. So I figured this is the plus plus, this is the minus minus, this is the plus minus, and this is the minus plus. So in this case, you have actually four different polarities in all the combinations possible in positive and negative. Um, then I had the four phases somewhere. Where is it? Oh, and I figured through the flower of life pattern circles, these must be the four phases, as they just line up in within the dynamics of the square. Which you see the yellow lines are the square lines, and then the blue lines are based on the flower of life triangle sizes. Well, yeah, phase number one, number two, what is also number two of the other one, and number three below, and then number four, but also number four of the other one. And this is a looping image, but yeah, we can't show a loop other than placing the image next to it. Um, yeah, what can you say about it? It could be also that it's not the points who are the faces, but the sides of them are the faces. The face of something, you know, the face of a square or something. And so I'm just figuring out how you can actually put the four faces in context of what it is. But so far it seems to be all electromagnetic related, as the north and south being the wall of polarities in between where our firmament is actually based in north and south, and it's like a cupola between north and south, as east-west just doesn't have a ground base, but it is a looping one. So far I figured this sky firmament is actually based on the whole electromagnetic field between the north and the south. I think that's it. What we discovered also, the mountain on Antarctica is very huge, and it's probably as high as the Mount Everest. But the difference is that Mount Everest is like a toothpick compared to a whole forest of trees in how big these mountains actually are. The same counts for the size of Greenland when we really look into that. What I did was actually just explore what was there, and figuring out how the formula worked created the possibility to get the elevation data beyond the square they gave us in Google Maps. And what I figure is, because this is coming from the photographic dimensions, it's probably impossible to make a ball of it or a circle of it without destroying the photographic data. In reality, what it is, and it doesn't matter what they come with for what they show in the world of being a ball of whatever. They can lie about the data they can lie about the data, but they can't lie the data itself. And I just explored the data itself instead of exploring their lies, and I ended up with this particular map. And this is actually the raw form of the data. And if you ask me, they just know everything already. They know it's flat. They just pulled out everything what was related to the flat out of the public domain, so we wouldn't know it. But somehow they show us the truth right in our face with just the square. There's a beyond. Because of this particular formula, what generates this particular line.